third here, I think, today. Your name's here. 6, the second motion, it says it was moved by Linda Murray and seconded by Dave Bowers to vote separately on abatement 85, tax map 158, lot 20. I did not step down from that one. I made the motion. On page 7, the 1, 2, 3, fourth paragraph up, it should be Christine Collins, not Christine Bowers. On page 8, it is Miss Ling, L-I-N-G, not long. And on page 12, my recollection was that the board did not seal the non-public minutes of June 2016 because we were just reviewing past minutes. So if the board agrees, I think that motion should be removed.
Any other comments or corrections? I wasn't here at that meeting, so I couldn't answer to that one. Hearing no other changes to the minutes, I'd accept the motion on the minutes.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? And I'll abstain because I wasn't here, so. Okay, next item is, excuse me, public input. Will be limited to 3 minutes per resident, not to exceed 15 minutes in total.
My name is Josephine Amatucci, and this is redressing my grievances, which is going to take more than 3 minutes. And if you don't want me to come before the board and take more than 3 minutes, then give me a hearing where I can address all the issues. And then we can resolve this problem without me coming before the board. Now, this is a redress of my grievances, and the first thing I want to clear is with Linda. Linda, you stated that you refused to investigate the 3 people, employees of the town, Chief Chase, Rondeau, and Hausman, because the courts found no merits. Now, we won't even discuss whether the courts found no merits. And you was talking about my civil cases, civil, not criminal, because nobody can go to a court and file a criminal case except a prosecutor. So what you are talking about, you're talking about civil cases. This is about criminal acts. So now that's one excuse you don't have on why you're not investigating. Number 2, you said that the Attorney General investigated and found no wrong. Well, let me tell you about the Attorney General. Dick Tracy is the one who did the investigation. He's the Attorney General in the Attorney General's office. This is how he investigated. He called my son in Massachusetts and threatened me through my son that if I ever accuse the police of misconduct, he will have my license to drive revoked. Now, you don't have that excuse because Dick Tracy is a criminal. He criminally threatened me. So now, do you have any other reason why you're not doing a criminal investigation?
Your comments are directed to the chair here, and you have 3 minutes to make
No,
your
she's
comments.
the one that
We
made
are
the
not-
statement.
we're
She's
not
the one that made the
answering-
statement.
We're not answering questions here. You were making your public input. That's it.
You're not going to ask questions about criminal conduct? When you have a right not to ask questions about the administrative political issues, but not about criminal conduct. According to the law, you have to address criminal conduct. So now, tell me why and what excuse you have not to get an outside investigation of three criminal employees. Do you have another reason? Because the reasons you gave are not valid. This is criminal. You have to answer my grievances according to the law. Under due process.
Do you have any more public input? Your 3 minutes, you've been out there for
So
3
you
minutes
don't want
now.
to answer.
This is not a question and answer.
All right, listen. You know what? You are violating the code of ethics, all of you. Dishonesty. And you have no right to be our public officials in this town. Now,
No, your time is up. Your time is up.
this is a redress of my grievance, of my right under the First Amendment.
Your time is up. It's time for you to sit
If-
down, Mr. Amatucci.
Because the public officials are involved in the crimes that occurred on May 7th, 2014, there is no way they are going to investigate or get an outsider to investigate themselves. Therefore,
You're sitting, you're gonna-
because I have a right under the Fourth Amendment, under due process of the law, and the right to address my grievances to government, we, the people,
move
in
to have a
our
recess.
democratic government, will take over this town, and will act as a jury in this
The board is
transparent
recessed. We'll be back in a few
act
minutes.
of accusing the town planner, Rob Hausman, of criminally injuring me on May 7th, 2014. I'll continue when you come back. I'll wait.
We have public hearing, Lake Worth Association to hold a paddleboard race on July 23rd, 2016, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Albee Beach.
That is the plan. Yes, I'm Michelle Clark
Thank you.
from Full Moon Paddleboard.
You're done, Mrs. Amatucci. We're moving on.
Because I was able to prove to the Department of Safety from my evidence that I was not in New Hampshire that day.
We've heard this before.
Entered the town hall. This is against
Haven't we sent her letters before?
We've heard all this before. We have sent letters to you about this. We have responded to this. We are not going to do we are not doing an investigation.
You're not doing the investigation. The
You are not
citizens of
ordering
this
us to do an
town
investigation.
are doing the investigation.
Nope. You may have a seat now.
When I
You may have a seat now.
the town hall, I went to speak to Miss Ann Marble and told her that Chief Chase threatened me. And I feared for my safety.
Ma'am, can you please sit down so I can have my time?
You are interrupting another public hearing, Mrs. Amatucci. You are being, you are done with your time.
Interrupted my due process.
There is no due process. You're allowed 3 minutes. And that was 12 minutes ago. You are done.
The director was leaving for lunch, but heard the beginnings of my complaint, and he went and told Rob Hausman. Rob Hausman, this is an investigation on you by the citizens of this town.
Are you kidding me?
Now,
I'm actually a citizen
How
of this
much
town
mo- how-
waiting for my time.
How much money are you gonna cost this town?
out of nowhere,
Why don't you sit down?
appears, stops me from leaving the town hall, and he grabbed me by the arm, and he pulled me to the courtroom, where he accuses me of putting Ann Marble to tears. Rob Hausman was not present
Okay.
when I was talking to Ann Hausman, to Ann Marble. So,
Mrs. Amatucci, we have another person that you were disrupting a meeting.
Hausman had set me up for an arrest. He told Brenda Lapointe to call the police dispatch.
We know.
and accused
We've heard this
I've
before.
heard this dozens of times from you.
This is
The same old
this is an
stuff.
investigation, and
This
I'm
is not an
accusing
investigation.
Rob Hausman, and he
This
has
is
to
not,
defend himself.
this is not an investigation.
If he doesn't defend himself, he's guilty.
We are
and
not
he's
doing
gonna
an
be
investigation.
terminated.
We are not doing an
No, you're
investigation.
not doing it. The town people are doing it because you're part of the criminal act.
That's
that
right.
happened.
You just keep thinking that you can go sit down now.
I am accusing Rob Hausman of these criminal acts. And
Is there some way we can get rid of him?
that he's innocent,
Dean
he
was
has
saying
to
just let
appear
it go.
here
He
at the
doesn't
next
want-
meeting
doesn't
and
want to get
defend
involved.
himself, or else he's guilty and he will be terminated.
That will not happen. I'm telling you that right now. He will, no, it will not.
Honey, you wait and
Do
see.
not call
You
me
wait.
honey. I am not
You
your
wait and
honey, I'll
see.
tell you that right now.
You're not, you're right, you're not sweet like honey.
Okay. Ms. Amatucci, you are all done now. I'm gonna have you seated down, or if we have to, we will have you removed.
I'm not through with my
You are through.
I am
You are through.
I am accusing Rob Hausman of violating my rights under the First and Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, of taking away my right to redress my
Yeah.
grievances, of taking away my liberty to enter the public buildings, of assaulting me and forcing me to go to the courtroom, and by holding me in an unlawful imprisonment in the courtroom. He is the cause of my unlawful arrest and imprisonment and prosecution by conspiring with police officer James O'Brien in a pursuit to have me stopped before I got to the sheriff's
Okay.
office to tell the sheriff
How many times do we have to listen to this?
and if he didn't call the sheriff's office, I would never have been arrested. I was found not guilty by the court of any crime. So I am telling you, Rob,
That's not true. You're lying to the people.
this is an
Yeah.
investigation. And if you're innocent, come here and defend yourself. We want to
Okay.
hear you defend yourself. And I want to bring my evidence of everything I'm accusing you of.
You were convicted for
And this is
refusing
only
to
once.
stop
I
the
got
police
two more
officer.
criminals to come and
Okay,
do
you're done.
their own investigation. We're
You may-
doing our own investigation.
You may continue now, Michelle.
You're out of control.
criminals yourself.
You're out of control.
This is organized crime.
Look around you. Any of these people care? Everyone's tired of hearing it. It's the same old, same old. Oh, you're gonna look at me now?
Oh,
That's
if
nice.
I keep up and I
I'm
keep
glad
up,
you can
they're
actually
gonna
look at me
listen.
this week.
They're going to listen.
Go sit
They're
down.
gonna have to listen.
And don't
or
spit
else
on me either.
They would have to stand for organized crime in this town.
You're out of control.
You know, that smile, you're a freak.
Jesus.
Michelle, would you like to
Hi.
continue
They
now?
don't want to listen, have
Okay.
a hearing.
Sit down. Sit down. We are done. Michelle, thank you.
Hi. So, paddleboards.
That's what we were talking about. wasn't
Yes, I think
We
I'd
wanna
like to
have a
talk
race.
about paddleboards.
On July 23rd, we'd like to hold the Moona Luna Paddle Classic at Albee Beach again. For the past couple of years, it's been in conjunction with the Chunky Dunk Duathlon, but this year we're going out on our own, and the nice part about it is that we have the Lake Wentworth Association as a sponsor. So funds will be going toward the association, as well as, fingers crossed, we raise enough money that we can donate to the American Parkinson's Disease Association as well. It's a children and adult race. We have a 2.5-mile race and a 5-mile race that leaves from the beach, goes out around the Sister Islands, and it finishes with a pretty awesome carry the paddle across the finish line on the beach. So it's been really well attended. We're excited to have new sponsors this year, and we're hoping that you will approve the date of July 23rd, which is the same weekend that has been the Chunky Dunks weekend as well. So if you have questions, let me know.
I'll open up the public hearing to anybody in the audience who'd like to ask any questions or comments. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Board members, any comments, questions, or?
I'll make a motion to approve the issuance of a temporary outdoor event permit to Lake Wentworth Association to hold a public paddleboard race on July 23rd, 2016 from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Albee Beach.
I'll second that.
Motion and second on the floor. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're all set.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Will Luke drop buoys for me again? That would be great. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, the next public hearing we have is the Friends of Libby Museum to hold the annual Fun Day event on July 24th, 2016 from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Libby Museum.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Ross, and I'm the co-director of the Libby. Lauren is out of town, and she sends her best and her thank yous for all that you do. The Libby has started its year well, and we have a Libby Woodland Walk that has opened thanks to Brad Harriman, who got some wood chips delivered. It's a small, tiny loop, but we invite you all to come. It's just a little extra to the museum. But I am here to ask for approval of our Friends of the Libby annual Family Day. Each year, this is the 4th year in a row, each year we celebrate some animal, and this year the theme is the Carner Blue Butterfly. And we have rented a 15 by 15 tent from Taylor Rental Center from Belmont, and just today 150 butterflies arrived. We'll be hatching butterflies and then putting them in the tent so people can walk around in the tent. There will be ice cream by Bailey's, children's crafts, artisans doing felting of a Carner Blue butterfly, food and drinks, music in the gazebo, a butterfly garden that you can talks and walk through, children's story and activity. We have a Carner Blue quilt raffle, and we have a membership table with the Friends. This is our annual drive that it's free, but when you come, all things are donations. Usually we have about 300 people at this event. And I think you have the map and all the things that you need there, so we hope you approve our event.
I'll open up the public hearing. If anybody in the audience has any questions or comments about this event. I know it's a great event. We had a very huge turnout last year for the moose one there.
Oh, it was,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
So we hope you all come.
We'll close the public hearing. Board members?
I got to agree with you, Brad. It's a great event. I take my grandchildren, and they love it. And
Great,
really
great.
appreciate the kind of an event happening in Wolfeboro.
Wait till they see the butterflies this year. May I, oh,
I was just going to say, and I understand too, at the meetings we had about this, that the kids get to walk in, or even the parents can walk in with a little, they give them a little stick that has a little sugar on it, so it attracts the butterflies to them as they walk in the tent and
Yes.
stuff, so it kind of, you know,
Yes, so
brings it a
they
little
can
closer.
walk and they'll
Yeah.
be flying up around them.
Yeah.
We haven't done this, we'll see how it works, but.
Sounds like,
And the tent will arrive on Friday and
there
go
to
on
find
Monday.
out.
yeah.
Are you gonna bring some birds in at the end of the event to clear out the butterflies?
Perhaps. May I talk about a recent donation that we had? I think you have a picture. Beverly Bruce, a well-known person in town, has given us a black bear, which is a fine example of taxidermy. It's worth $2,500. The taxidermist was Frank Zitz of Rhinebeck, New Hampshire, but she wrote, but I think Rhinebeck is in New York, but I'm not sure that that's correct. And the new bear is in the museum, and we hope you accept it and you all come to see it.
Actually, that's a little, agenda item a little bit later on here too, to do the acceptance of the
The
gift there.
caribou is coming, but it hasn't arrived yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that will be another time that we have to
Yeah.
come.
Okay, do we have a, what else would you like to do on the,
Would you like a motion on the temporary event permit?
yes,
To move the issuance of a temporary outdoor event permit to the Friends of the Libby Museum to hold the annual Family Fun Day event on July 24th, 2016, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Libby Museum.
Second.
motion second on the floor, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're all set there.
Now, we're a little bit behind, but could I give you a highlight of some of our events, or do we not have time for that?
We have that actually a little bit
Later?
later on here,
Okay.
on the agenda items.
Thank you
We can
so
do that.
much.
Okay, thanks. Next on the agenda is our bulk vote.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to have removed abatement 39, tax map 158, lot 22. I'd like to step down from that one.
Okay, is that a, okay, wanna,
It's the second one.
Well, I'll let the motion go first,
Okay,
and then
yep.
I have one I wanted to ask to table.
okay, so we have a motion, we have a second on that one?
Second.
Motion second to remove refund number 39. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Also, Mr. Chairman, I would request that the board table abatement refund number 58. As I understand, the property owner has made an appointment to meet with the assessor next week to review this matter further.
okay, could we have a motion to remove item number 58?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So now we'll vote on the bulk vote.
Question, please. Is 58 for Nelson Steiner? Was it?
It is, yes.
It is. Okay, that's
Okay. So we'll have I'll entertain a motion for the bulk vote with those two items removed out of it.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I would entertain a motion for abatement refund number 39.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I've stepped down.
Abstained, yep.
39.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is appointments. First one being the EDC alternate.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if I may, we have a member of the Budget Committee, Steve Johnson, that has indicated an interest in becoming an alternate on the Economic Development Committee. And so if the board is agreeable, I would ask that you approve his appointment to the EDC.
Okay, he's not here tonight to have him introduce himself or speak to us, but I think we all know him. What's the board's wish on this? Would they like to,
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Steve Johnson to the Economic Development Committee as
And
an
I'll
alternate member for a term through April 30th, 2018.
And I'll second that, sorry.
motion, second on the floor, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item is appointment for Heritage Commission for an alternate.
And this is our own Dave Bowers, who the commission would like to see appointed to the commission because his state as a selectman's liaison is a little murky or whatever, and so they would like him officially appointed to the commission.
I think that sounds good. I definitely appreciate all the people who do step forward to, especially, some of the board members here to do even more meetings than we already do, so I would entertain a motion on that.
I'll make a motion to appoint Dave Bowers as an alternate member of the Heritage Commission for a term through April 30th, 2019.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Abstain.
And one abstention. Okay. Okay. Next is new business. Acceptance of household hazardous waste grant funds.
Board members, Mr. Harriman.
Good evening.
We have already applied for a grant for the Household Hazardous Waste Facility for the fiscal year covering July 2016 through June 2017, and we have received that contract from DES, and what they need is some insurance papers, which Pete will take care of, but they need at a regular Board of Selectmen meeting to have a vote accepting the grant for those funds, and I would ask that you would do that this evening, and then I had two other items for you.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion on this matter?
Make a motion.
I was just going to say, I would ask that you adopt it exactly as proposed because that's the language that's in the certificate of vote that we need for you to certify.
Okay, the motion is to approve accepting the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Grant Funds and enter into a contract with the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services. The board further authorize the town manager to execute any documents which may be necessary for this grant agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're all set on that one.
Great, and the good news is they have allowed us $4,166 that we can apply for. You do have to qualify. There were only certain expenses that qualify, but that's up from about $33.93 the last time. So we are able to get these funds based on the population for the three-member communities, which is Wolfeboro, Teftonboro, and Alton. And another thing I would like to bring to everyone's attention tonight is that, as you may know, we meet the third Saturday of every month to collect hazardous waste, and then during the months of June and August at the same time at the hazardous waste facility at 404 Beach Pond Road, we also do medicine collections. We can take over-the-counter, we can take prescription, we can take non-prescription, we can take controlled. We can only take them on those two specific days because we do need to have 2 police officers and a pharmacist present. The pharmacist has to count and positively identify every prescription pill that we take in and isolate all of the controlled drugs that then go into the custody of the police department. They're then put into a locked evidence locker, and then they have an observed burn destruction. All other pills that are not controlled go with our waste hauler, either as a pesticide solid as a pill, pesticide liquid if it's something like cough medicine, or perhaps as an aerosol paint if it's like an asthma puffer or something like that. Last year in June, as they did not have the Drug Enforcement Agency collection the end of April, we collected more medications in that one collection day than we had in 3 collection days for 5 of the previous 9 years. It was an outstanding collection. So we're sort of relieved that DEA is now participating again with the last Saturday in April and September. But we offer this so that anyone that is concerned about keeping those medications in their home when they no longer need them we can safely dispose of them and relieve them of the concern of being robbed or someone taking them inappropriately, or even of a child taking them inappropriately. The other thing I would like to bring to the attention of the board is an invitation. I am secretary of the Lakes Region Repeater Association, which is a local ham radio association, and this year they will be celebrating the 84th Field Day. They have previously invited the Board of Selectmen and the Fire Department and the Police Department to come down and observe. It will be Saturday, June 25th and Sunday, June 26th, starting at 2 p.m. here in New Hampshire. It is a radio contest which is actually training for emergency management. They put up temporary antennas, they run off of generators, they use computers to log in all their contacts for all the states and the provinces of Canada. Some states are divided. There are over 35,000 people from various locations participating in Field Day in 2015. There are 725,000 licensed hams in the United States as young as 5 years old and as old as 100. So there are a lot of them out there. So we actually encourage you to come down and see this because they are part of our emergency management plan for the town of Wolfeboro, and they are an integral part in emergency preparation. And I hope to see you guys. You come at 8 o'clock, we'll give you breakfast
Where
on
is it?
Sunday. It's at the same place as always, Dan Morgan's Farm, 451 Pleasant Valley Road. Thank you for that reminder. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sarah. Okay, next on our agenda is a monthly expenditures report.
Good evening. Pete Chamberlain, Finance Director. You had a chance to read my report for the month of May. In summary, the balance that's expended to date for the various funds are as follows. The general fund is approximately 35%, water fund 38%, electric fund 33%, sewer fund approximately 57%, Pop Whalen is approximately 40% expended with an overall average of approximately 36%. At this particular point in the year, you should be somewhere around or below 41. I was wondering if any questions?
Waiting for June.
Oh. Well, that won't be that long off, I can
No,
guarantee you, so.
that's one I'm always curious on.
Sure. And revenues are, I think, somewhere around 38% collected, so that's pretty good for this time of the year.
I'd just like to say, as usual, it's an excellent report, Peter, and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, next is the discussion on the new electric power supply contract.
Yes, I'll introduce the matter. We have with us this evening Mayhew Seavey, who's our consultant, and he has assisted us in putting the town's electric power supply needs for the next 5 years out to bid. And we just went through a very successful procurement process, and Mayhew is here to share the good news with everyone this evening.
Good evening. There we go. We're in a fortunate position. Forward energy prices have been declining steadily for 2 years now, mostly thanks to really adequate supplies of natural gas. And the big problem for the last couple of years has been the winter price of power in New England, because it becomes very difficult to get natural gas into New England in the wintertime, and most of the electric power in New England is generated with natural gas. When we look at what's happened since we began going through the process of getting a contract in place, We did see a little bit of ticking up in the price since February or so, but we're really still at or near the lowest prices that we've seen for electric power in the last 4 years. So basically, this is a very good time to be purchasing power, especially given that your current contract runs out at the end of December this year. That contract had locked in a price of $46.30 a megawatt hour, which in sort of electric rate terms is 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour, if you think in terms of your bill. That was a 3-cent drop from the contract preceding that. So we've been having very good prices for the last 3 years, and our hope was that we could continue that. We sent out 7 RFPs on April 7th to the 7 largest active power suppliers in the New England market, asking for 2 different indicative non-binding prices for 2 separate products. We've done this every time we've gone out for a power contract. One was for just blocks of energy that were fixed with the balance to flow through a spot market, and then looking for a contract for 100% of your energy requirements, what we call load following. The prices that we're looking at right now are so low that we didn't see any need to look for an indexed price product as we have in the past, because essentially right now where prices are, you have much more risk of prices going up in the future than you have of them going down. Prices are not going to go much lower than the 4.5 cent level that they're at now, but they could very well get back up to the 7 or 8 cent level that they were a few years ago. So we figured this is an opportunity to fix a price, get a price locked in for 5 years, and then forget about it. We get indicative prices on May 4th from 6 of the 7 suppliers, and we decided the prices were close enough between the 6 that we would negotiate final contracts with all 6 suppliers. The suppliers who were negotiated contracts with were BP, which is a subsidiary of British Petroleum, Constellation, which is Baltimore, EDF, which is Électricité de France, the largest nuclear power utility in the world. We won't talk about how they get the power over here. They're local. They have local subsidiaries. NextEra, which is headquartered in Florida, in Juno Beach, Florida. PSEG, which is from New Jersey, and Shell, which is headquartered in Houston. The product that we asked for final prices on was simply the load following energy with fixed pricing, because when we compared the fixed volumes to the load following, the premium was so small that it wasn't worth trying to pursue a more complicated arrangement where we take the risk of some spot market. So that's what we looked for. This is a graph of the prices that we received, the indicative prices that we received in May. And the interesting thing about this is that they're all over the map. I mean, the scale is a little bit compressed here, but you see things like EDF is offering a price that drops every year for 5 years, and some of the others have a price that goes up over 5 years. This is kind of curious. Don't usually see this. But it is one of the reasons that we decided to ask all of them to submit binding prices, because you figure this isn't a really good read for where they're going to finally come down when we ask them to give us a binding price that they'll commit to. The final contracts were negotiated essentially yesterday, and when we asked for final prices, we got the prices by 11 o'clock yesterday. The contracts that we negotiated were very similar. We tried to keep them as identical as possible so that we didn't have to try to account for the monetary value of differences in contract terms. You know, somebody has a slightly higher parent guarantee amount. How do we value that in terms of compare that to the price that they offer? So we did get 5 contracts that were essentially identical, and we feel pretty good about the contracts. They've all got all of the same protections that are in the current contract. We get a parent guarantee of $6 million from all of the suppliers, which is a little bit more than is in the current Constellation contract. So we have good protections for the town. 4 of the 5 prices that we got in yesterday were at or below the present Constellation price. PSEG was the lowest, and their 5-year average price was $44.67, which is 3.5% lower than the present Constellation contract. So we selected them as a supplier. PSEG is, as I said before, it's PSEG Energy Resources and Trade is the subsidiary that the contract is with. They're affiliated with Public Service Electric and Gas Company from New Jersey, which is one of the largest combined electric and gas utilities in the country. So they've been around for a long time in the energy trading arena, so we're pretty confident that they'll be a good supplier. I did tell the people from Constellation we were sorry to lose them as a supplier. They've been very good, very easy to deal with, and but they just couldn't, at the end of the day, they couldn't compete, so it's a shame. So these are the final prices. You'll notice that the spread among the 5 finalists is much narrower than it was for the indicative, the non-binding prices. They're all within about $1 or $2 a megawatt hour over the term, with the exception of Shell, which really was having trouble with their computers, I was told. They couldn't they couldn't get an agreement with management over what they could offer us. So, and you can see that really the PSEG is the lowest price in 4 of the 5 years, and really significantly lower in 2017 and 18. And that will, I think, prove to be advantageous when we talk about setting rates in a few months. It gives us some flexibility to how we incorporate these into the rates. And that will bring us to our last slide, which is, come January, your cost of purchase power will decrease by about 1/4 cent a kilowatt hour, or about $185,000 a year. So that's a nice position to be in. It gives you some options as to whether you want to lower rates, whether you want to build up a cash reserve for future rate stabilization. And the total savings over the present contract price is about $600,000 over the 5 years of the contract. So it's a good contract. I think we hit the market at a very good time. Hopefully, I think we managed to catch it before the hot weather arrived. Every year, power markets discover that it gets hot in the summer, and the prices 5 years in the future go up. So it's nice that we managed to get in and get the contract done before we get into the hot weather of summer. So if there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have one. Has Public Service Electric and Gas bid other years, or did we get some bigger companies this time competing with Constellation?
What I did find this time was, while we have about the same number of people bidding, they were bidding much more aggressively. One of the things that we observed in the past, this is a relatively small contract for a lot of these companies. And a lot of times, companies will bid just 2 or 3 years of the 5-year term, or they won't give us the load following product. This year we got all 6 of the original bids were all 5 years for all of the products that we asked for. People were really aggressively pursuing this. So I think that there's not a lot of opportunities right now out in the market for them, which is one of the reasons that we had more competition.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Questions or anything from the board?
I would just comment, when Mayu says that the contracts were negotiated yesterday, they've been negotiated over the last couple of weeks. And the final details were being settled yesterday.
Yes, that's of course what I meant. Was that we negotiated them for several weeks, which is why we didn't finish until yesterday, because it just kept, these things always take a little bit longer than you think they're going to. However, when you tell a supplier that there's a board meeting Wednesday night, it does focus their attorneys somewhat.
Well, I think this is real good news for the electric payers of Wolfeboro.
I agree. I really appreciate the job you did on this, and I'm sure the town does too. All the ratepayers will. Thank you.
And the contract is supposed to be to me tomorrow, and will already be signed by PS&G, and then I'll be signing the contract, and we'll be locked in.
Good.
Yeah, the contract has essentially been locked in through a verbal confirmation on a recorded line, which is the way it works, and the paperwork will follow. They've been having trouble tracking down the president of PSEG and getting him to sign it. It was the last signature that was required. Otherwise, it would have been signed today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is Libby Museum, to have a discussion on the update of museum activities and,
Wasn't paying attention.
that's okay.
All right, the Libby Museum has several June activities this year. We have coming up a Royal Ballet Tea Princess Party, which was a big hit last year. Edred Toth's Dance Academy will perform with their princesses, and then you may dance with the princesses, and then you may stay for the tea party where you learn tea etiquette and have lots of scrunchy things for $5. So you could come to the ballet for free, or you could just come to the tea party, but it's $5. No, I'm sorry, it's $10. I'm most sorry. So we're looking forward to that. And we have a new website. You would go to thelibbymuseum.org, where you can see all of our events, and you can even register for camps on there this year. The next June event, we have collaborated with the Wolfeboro Cultural Collaborative, which is a combination of museums and cultural artists and things in town, and they're having a scavenger hunt from 10 to 3 on June 25th. You go to the Khaled Gallery and you pick up your ticket, and then you have to visit 4 museums at least to be eligible for prizes. And you could go to the Libby, the Wright, the Library, the Boat, the Sandy Martin Gallery, the Saville Gallery for clues. And then on Sunday at the Libby, the prizes. There are gift certificates to go to restaurants, there's theater tickets, there's ballet tickets. There are green posters around town, so that's a collaborative thing that we're excited to be at. Our June artist this June, is Eric Kinkoff. He's a photographer, and he's wonderful, so come down and just take a look at his things. In July, Betty Brown will be our artist, and she's doing oil pastels. On July 8th, from 1 to 3, we're quite excited. We have an antique coin show at the Libby. Dave Bowers and Frank Van Valen have worked together to create a new display of coins, and you could go. Frank will be there, and you're welcome if you'd like, Mr. Bowers. Frank will be there to evaluate your coins if you'd like to have them evaluated or looked at. And then you can see our new coin collection. And then on that same month, July 9th, from 1 to 2, this is a free event, and the coin event is free too. Most of our events are reasonably free. You could meet Mrs. Libby and walk and talk with Mrs. Libby, a costume Mrs. Libby, around the museum and get a personal tour from her. Then an exciting event on July 21st, 7 to 8 in the evening. The New Hampshire Humanities Lecture Series has Maggie Steer, and she'll be talking about On This Spot Once Stood. And I do need to say that in a prior publication, it said she was speaking on Victorian architecture, and that was my mistake. She's talking about architecture, but On This Spot Once Stood. But that will be a good event. Then we have the Family Day that I spoke of, and I forgot to give you the date. It's July 24th from 11 to 3. That's where the Carner Blue Butterfly will be sponsored and all of those wonderful activities. That's a great family event. Then it's already August, and our featured artists, we have 2. Pat Smith is a photographer and a former director of the museum. And we have Fred Foley, who is the John Wentworth expert in town, and he's a primitive painter. The big events for that month, we have August 11th, we have the New Hampshire Mushroom Company coming, and mushrooms are quite the thing. So there will be a speaker about that and a children's program. August 13th, if you missed it the first time, you can do a walk and talk with Mrs. Libby again. And then that evening, on August 18th, there's an evening lecture with the speaker being Dave Bowers, and it's sponsored by Friends of the Libby. It'll be here in the Great Hall, and he will be talking about a pictorial trip through Wolfeboro and Lake Winnipesaukee, then and now. It's a PowerPoint presentation of all of the wonderful places around the lake, and it will highlight Wolfeboro. And that, you would pick your tickets up at the Chamber of Commerce, and there will be more information about that. So that should be a wonderful event. Then we have 6 weeks at the museum always of our children's programs and children's art programs. Every Tuesday and Wednesday from July 5th through August 10th from 10 to 12, a 2-hour program, we have the Little Sprouts program, which will be Camp Kindness this year. And this is taught by the beloved Susan Berry. This has gone on for years, and children grow up with it. This is for ages 5 to 7. Titles will be Me, Myself, and I, How to Be a Friend, Creatures Great and Small, In the Garden, Mother Earth, and Peace. And the theme is kindness makes you happy, and happiness makes you kind. And then every Thursday, I do a program called Kid Ventures. It's for ages 7 to 13, and it's $25 a day. The other program was $15 a day. And it's history and science-based, because the Libby is a wonderful museum. It has natural history, but it's got a lot of regular wonderful history and science there too. So the titles for the Kid Venture program are Trip Back in Time with Your American Girl Doll, Spend a Day in an Abenaki Camp, which was a big hit last year, Meet New Hampshire's Carner Blue Butterfly, Dr. Libby's Invention Convention, Junior Scientists Explore in the Libby Lab, and it's a Mushroom Discovery Day. Then every Wednesday, we have our Wildlife Adventure program, which was always a hit. That will go from July 6th to August 10th from 12 to 1. And they bring wild animals, and that's a free program, and it's always wonderful. Then we have Saturday Adventures in Art every Saturday from 10 to 12. And this is a program where you work with a real artist, and you get to go home with something. There will be watercolor painting with Sarah Anderson, a sock doll workshop with Susan Foster Brown from Milton, Zen Tangle with Jill Moxie, felting Christmas ornaments with Beth Page, and pottery with Tara Junkins. And that's pretty much what we're doing, but it's a big, busy summer. So please do go on the new website, thelibbymuseum.org. Thank you for your support and for putting up with all that.
Thank you, Cheryl. I'm also on reading Section 31:95E to accept grants, gifts under $5,000. All we have to do is just have a discussion about it and have it entered in the minutes. Is that correct?
Right, you just need to have a vote on the record. This is for the black bear, and you have some deer heads, right?
It's what?
Deer heads?
Black bear and some deer heads are being donated to the museum?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to accept the gifts of deer heads and a black bear given to the Libby Museum.
Second.
Motion is second on the floor. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're all good on that. Okay. Next up is a discussion on the conditions of approval for a temporary outdoor event permit for the boat show. The gentleman waiting very patiently here tonight.
It's nice today. My name's Donnie McLean. I'm representing the New England chapter of the Antique and Classic Boat Society. And our intent is to hopefully have the permit modified to allow us to move some dock space around, which would help us immensely in keeping public boats or, non-show boats away from the show boats. I think it would be very good. The letter that Dennis Shower sent about a month ago reads, the permit for this event was issued January 6, 2016, and reserves docks 1 and 2 for public use during the boat show. we request that the permit be modified to reserve both sides of Dock 1, the east side of Dock 2, and the west side of Dock 6 for public use. This change will prevent the operation of non-show boats within the same interdock spaces where show boats are docked, reducing congestion, improving operational safety, and most importantly, preventing non-show boats accidentally coming into contact with any show boat. And basically, we're asking to just displace the one side of Dock 2 for one side of Dock 6.
Board members have any comments, or?
I do. I will have my same comment. My problem with this is when we granted it, we were putting the public all down at one end. That would make it easy for them to come in. The side of Dock 6 is far smaller than the other space, and I feel that we have an obligation to maintain a certain amount of space for the public use. And that's I love the project, but I really feel that that's needed. And you know I made that comment before, so.
I have a comment when time comes.
Dave?
This is peripheral, being the abutter to the town docks and watching for 5 years about 80% of the dock closest to our property has blue things on it for handicap. I have never in my entire life, and I've seen a single handicap boat there. We know Mr. Hansen, who lives out in the islands, is behind this, and I like Mr. Hansen, and I think we should have a handicap spot. But I would really think that the town would do very well if they released all the spots except maybe one, and then put up a little sign, because people hover around, then they finally decide to dock there. I see this all the time.
Yeah.
Put up a sign that this one dock is only for if there is such a thing as a handicap sticker, because you're using up you're wasting a lot of empty space that no one is using.
Yes.
And I would like to actually have maybe Luke as a water person and then Diana Pisaki or some other people look at that and maybe make a proposal to the board, might have a public hearing to amend the handicapped access to free up for the general public. I have no vested interest in this, by the way, except just watching what happens.
Yeah, Luke?
We talked after the last meeting where I was unable to attend, and, you know, I think I brought up some points, you know, and I think my points were, you know, we talked about having people at the docks that, you know, the general public was aware of which docks were open.
Yep.
We talked about getting the signs maybe up earlier,
Yep.
so that the boating public knows that this event's going to happen, that it's going to mean less parking spots for a given amount of time. And I think you kind of alleviated all my feelings of, you know, of fear of people pulling in and not knowing where to go, and there'll be plenty of signage, and there'll be plenty of staff there to help direct people. And then obviously if spots do become free because for whatever reason a person takes a boat out, they're done for the day or whatever, you know, we start filling those spots in with the general public if we can.
And I think, as I stated, I think it was about a month ago when we came in and had that discussion here, I can understand having the classic boats in there, and I've been down there on many occasions, and you do see some people come into those dock slips there, and some of the boaters aren't the best in the world there. They're trying to either back out or get even turned around in their stuff, and there have been some, you know, bumping and jostling for, you know, squeezing a space or 20-foot space with a 21-foot boat or something like that. And, you know,
Sometimes it worked.
sometimes, yeah. But you know, so I can, you know, I do understand your request on wanting to have those slots so that you're protected. The boats are in the show there because they are valuable boats. They're like, you know, antique cars too and stuff. When they come into a show, they don't want to be mixed in with other cars pulling in beside them, and you know, and have that intermingle stuff going on. So, you know, so I understand that, and I'm, you know. Personally, I have no problem with doing this change here myself, so.
Thank you.
Dave, did you want to say anything? Or?
No, I'm agreeable to it.
So I guess what we probably need to do is, I'd entertain a motion on if we want to amend this or not, or how the board
I'm going to
wants
make a
to.
motion that we amend the request and approve the requested modification.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any discussion on the board here before we vote?
I'll reiterate that I think that this is unfair to the Chamber of Commerce and the general public and to the tourist business. And, you know, I love antique boats, and, but I do think that a private entity is taking over the town's right to let visitors from other places come. So I'm going to vote no. But I love you know, if you did it on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something, I'd vote yes.
Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
No.
Aye.
Okay. So the vote is 3-2 in modifying the layout down there, so.
Thank you very much. And we hope that you'll all come and take part in what's going on down there that day.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is establish a committee to the Kate General Trust Funds.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as I reported at the last meeting, the Cypress petition was approved by the probate court. And this means that the town is going to be receiving a one-time payment of $30,000 that can be used for equipment, concerts, lectures, and entertainment in the town hall, public building rooms, or other venue for the benefit of those living in the Wolfeboro area. And there's supposed to be a committee to oversee the administration of these funds and decide what activities to fund. I would suggest a small committee, like 3 members. It's going to be a one-time.
Mr. Owen, I believe from the paragraph above, we will be getting a yearly allotment. If you read it, the trustees would like to pay said $300 annually to the committee. So there's the lump sum, and then there's also annual payment. But I will agree with you. I think our trustees of trust funds, of Josiah Brown are 3. I think our trustees of trust funds, I guess they've gone up to higher than 3 now.
Well, they have 3 plus alternates.
Alternates. So it makes sense, your suggestion, that we have 3 members.
Right. And you've already have 1 volunteer from the pastor of the Congregational Church has indicated an interest in serving on this committee. And if you have any other people you'd like to put on it.
I'd like to make a comment. I suggest that because...
Use a mic, Dave, so everybody can hear you.
I suggest that we have one member, maybe Cheryl, who just spoke, or another one of the museum people, could be from the Historical Society, the Wright Museum, or what. Some people that are nonprofit museums are part of the pulse of our society, be a member of this. And I would, I'm sure Cheryl would volunteer. Maybe you want to have a member of the Board of Selectmen, because we are using the Great Hall here, and it involves some money, and it involves picking out what type of entertainment's going to be. So I think that, the Selectmen should sort of keep a pulse on it.
My only concern about having, the museums represented on it is that there may be potential conflict of interest situations. You wouldn't want to deprive a museum of the ability to get something funded because, their member would be in conflict.
Well, you have a church, anybody's going to be an entity. I really don't care. I just think that it would be nice. It's a lot of money, and it would be nice to review the type of entertainment here, get something that the public would like, not necessarily what a church would like or something, although I love the church.
Would anybody think it would be appropriate to you and consider a member or somebody from the Chamber of Commerce or the EDC because they're kind of in tune with the businesses in town and stuff
I'm wondering whether we do one of the, like somebody from the Friends of Music or somebody who puts on concerts. We've got a group that plays down at the bandstand consistently, and I think somebody from the music area in the town would, I think would be big, because it seemed like it was for entertainment, not for business, and the entertainment and lectures and so I would definitely like somebody from the music end of
I
town.
would agree with that, like one music person, maybe somebody from the chamber, because the chamber is quite aware of what draws people.
How soon are we looking to get this committee put together, Mr. Owen?
As soon as the board names people to it, we haven't received the $30,000 yet.
Right.
So there's no money to hand out yet, but we need to get the committee established. I don't even know what to call the committee. I haven't come up with a creative name for it yet. I'm open to suggestions.
I think personally that some of this falls directly under Parks and Rec too, so, I think that Christine or her assistant or somebody should be involved in this. It says it's for the equipment concerts and lectures and stuff in town hall meeting rooms, and sometimes they're the ones that set up all that stuff, so I would think they might want to be involved.
Okay.
That's my own opinion.
I think the name Kate should be in the committee, part of the committee title.
The what, Dave?
The name Kate should be on the committee, part of the committee name.
And I would think that if a Board of Selectmen was part of it, they should be there as an alternate or liaison, not a member. I think we want 3 community members.
Yeah. More of a set of ears on our end,
Just to be there, as, as we've done on a bunch of other committees. That's, I think, a better way for us to handle it.
I liked your idea too about, getting hold of somebody in the Cape Park band or that group down there that does play there a lot. I think that's an excellent idea, or at least for one of the people there to put on this, so. I don't know how we'd reach out to them if it,
Well, I know somebody who's on one of the bands that I'm more than willing to talk to. Maybe what we should do is kind of not do anything tonight. I'll go see and ask around on the band, and maybe, Dave, you can think about, Park and Rec, whether there's somebody, friends of Abenaki or somebody, or just one of your staff members. And then that would give us the committee and...
moving in the right direction there.
Yeah, I think so.
This is nothing we have to decide on tonight.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
It's been a good discussion to get some ideas out here. I think that's good. Okay, so we'll continue on with that. Old business. Do we have any old business to go over? Any other business? Town managers report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do have a few things to report out this evening. One, in the next days, you'll be seeing some landscaping work going on in front of the town hall. And this work is going to be consisting of placement of shrubs and perennials and ground cover. And it's supposed to all be done before the 4th of July, so we're all prettied up before all the tourists get here. And this work is being paid for in part by the Friends of Town Hall and out of the Brewster Building budget, and a portion out of the DPW Buildings and Grounds budget. So just so you're aware when you see the work being done. Also, I'm pleased to announce that we're going to be making Josiah W. Brown scholarship funds available again. We have a public notice of the availability of these scholarship funds, which is on the town website presently and will be in the newspaper, I believe, next week. And we also send it out to the schools, the guidance counselors and such. And as you know, we received an additional allocation of funds recently, so we should be in good shape to make additional scholarship grants available. I can report that we received the draft 2015 audit report from the auditors, and we're reviewing that now, and we will be bringing that forward, scheduling the auditors to come in sometime in the next month or so to give their annual audit report. Today and tomorrow, there are the pay and classification study interviews are going on with the town employees. There's two consultants from MRI doing simultaneous interviews in 2 different rooms today and tomorrow, and so that work is moving forward. We wanted to make people aware that there is available property tax relief for low and moderate income property owners. This is through a program by the administered by the New Hampshire Department of Revenue, and we're going to have somebody here at the town hall on June 22nd from 10 a.m. to noon to help individuals who may qualify for this relief. And so we want to publicize and make aware to people that this kind of relief is available for low and moderate income residents. We also had a status report, which is in your agenda materials, about the assessing process, and that, as you saw from your agenda books tonight, we're just about through the all the abatements from 2015. There were 139 abatement requests in total, and at this point there are, once you get through these, there are still 6 properties with abatement requests that have not been inspected, and 5 that have appointments currently scheduled for inspections. So you can anticipate that the rest of the abatements will be coming to you at your first meeting in July. And finally, I just wanted to mention to the board that I'll be out of the office this Friday through Wednesday at noon. I'm going to go see my son out in the San Francisco area for the Father's Day weekend and a few extra days.
Motorcycles.
No motorcycles this trip. We're doing something different. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Committee reports. We'll start down here with Dave.
Okay, vote people, don't go away. Hey, vote people, I want to, hey, do you have a pen, somebody have a pencil? For time immemorial, for your boat shows and car shows, we've let you use our parking lot next door. Yes. For the setup, you can do that, but write down the number of, Call Christine Karstedt, because you probably need a certificate of insurance. Can you do that?
Yeah, we can do that. I don't have any.
But we have, we have a dozen spaces and they use it, whatever.
Okay. What's the number first?
It's 569-0823 and ask for Christine Karstedt. But don't do it for 2 days, I want to talk to her first, okay? But we've done this before and it works out okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I went to the library trustees meeting, which is coming along just fine. The library trustees are coming along fine. They're concentrating on their $4 million building project and having lots of meetings and so forth. Then I went to the Heritage Committee or Commission, their second meeting, which is a very interesting group, an entirely different number of players than I normally see at town meetings. A lot of sophisticated people there. We have them in other committees too, but these people are, different leaders. That's coming along nicely, and they're trying to figure out what buildings to do. And then also today, we had Bill Dunlap, the executive director of the New Hampshire Historical Society, come up and spend midday with Cheryl Ross and me. And we toured the Libby Museum, the Wright Museum, and the Boat Museum, met with the curators, and there's going to be some sort of an interface going on where the museums are going to be linking together more than they are now, but they are linked together just to promote, if you like one museum, you should visit the others. And Bill Dunlap is a very accomplished businessman, and there might be a possibility, this is not, there might be a possibility that Cheryl might be getting involved in her addition or other activities, not necessarily for publication, and help out the New Hampshire Historical Society in addition to what she does locally.
Thanks, Dave. Luke?
I have police commission later on this week, but nothing else to report.
Okay. I attended, last week we had a planning board meeting, and the big item that night was the Families in Transition facility got their approvals, and they had a couple other smaller site reviews for a deck in the condo association, stuff like that. And then we also had a community TV meeting last week that we went over and got updates on how they're doing and stuff, so that was it for me.
Well, I've been busy with the chamber. I went to the chamber quarterly meeting, then I went to their executive board meeting, and then I went to their chamber social.
I've had zoning board of adjustment meetings. That's all I've been dealing with. It's been enough. Long meetings.
Yeah. Questions from the press?
Oh, good.
Okay,
Would you like a motion?
I would.
I'd make a motion for the board to go into a non-public session for personnel matter.